My name is Ronke Posh. Ronke Adeni is my actual name, fondly called Ronke Posh. This is so interesting. We had this conversation on the group following some conversations I had seen online in about 3 places where people were saying, is it possible to raise a child without shouting? And this is where this all started. So I've said about that we cannot not learn. There's some things that I really want to share before we start, because we cannot make good change, positive change, if we are not of the right mindset. Now, if you don't believe that it is possible to raise children without shouting and smacking, then it's a waste of time. You might not know how, but if you believe that it's possible that some people are actually doing it, that's the start. But if you already closed your mind and you believe that, oh, this is rubbish, they're just saying rubbish, how can they not? My mother smacked me, my father smacked me, I turned out all right, which is a common thing that I've been getting everywhere. People have been sharing this invite, and people are saying, how can people not? They smacked me. I'm a product of a dad that didn't smack me. My dad has never smacked me, and we have the most amazing relationship. So it is possible to raise children without smacking them. If you want to try to stop shouting, it's also possible to stop shouting, and we need to know that there's a difference between shouting and being firm with your children. By all means, we can be firm so they can know there's a difference in tonality. So those are differences. So those are some things that I really want us to bear in mind. And we need to know that in our families that we are leaders. Moms or dads, we are the leaders in our families. And by virtue of the position that we have, we need to be flexible. Flexible to learn, flexible to adjust, and flexible enough to put ourselves in the... Hello, Ma'am Mudupe, thanks for joining. Flexible enough to put ourselves in the position of our children. Now, if you believe that it's impossible, if your mind is closed, if you just here to come and hear what she has to say, what rubbish. Even the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. At some point during this live, good evening, Efe, thanks Jayola for joining. I'll be able to let people understand that that scripture is not a scripture that is properly understood. And as much as I can, I'm not going to spend too much time doing it. I'm just going to give you the highlights so that you can do your own research yourself. We can't keep quoting scriptures that we don't thoroughly understand. And I'm glad to have you here, Efe, that we don't fully understand. Because are not all Christians here, I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but I will also just make reference to it. So let me start with some quotes on leadership, because the minute we begin to know that we are leaders and begin to run our families like a business, then we begin to understand that there's some things that we do that are totally unacceptable in our families. So this shouting and smacking, how do you feel? And please drop your comments as I go along. How do you feel when someone yells at you? How do you feel when someone shouts at you? Would you like to be smacked up the head? Would you like to be smacked on the back or the butt or anything? Say, for instance, you're in the workplace and you're not delivering on time, or something happens. Hey, Evelyn, how are you? You don't deliver on time and your boss just comes, boom, smacks your head. How are you going to feel? So, because they're children doesn't mean they don't have emotions. But before I get to that, let me tell you some leadership quotes. We must first see ourselves as leaders in our homes. So, number one, we are in charge of our mind, and therefore we are in charge of our results. So whatever it is that is happening in your home, you are in charge of the results. So if you believe that your house is noisy and unruly and things are happening, you are in charge of whatever it is that is happening in your home. We cannot not learn. So you need to ask, what is it that I can possibly learn tonight? You cannot not learn. In every situation, no matter what the situation is, you are capable of learning. But if you close your mind and believe that you can't learn anything tonight, then you won't learn, unfortunately. So you need to have an open mind and believe that you will learn and you are able to learn. And prolonged transformational change can happen just like that. The change that you're looking for, that no shouting that you're looking for, that no smacking that you're looking for, it can be a journey for some, it can take weeks for some, it can take months for some, and some people can stop tonight. because lasting change can happen immediately. Hey Effion, hey Finachichi, how are you? Great to have you here. So you need to understand that change can happen tonight, it can happen tomorrow, next week, and for some it might be longer, and it's usually because we ourselves have issues that we're dealing with. And we need to respect each other's model of the world. We must respect each other's model of the world. So what is the model of this child? So this child is having fun, and then you're just looking from your own lens. You're an adult and you want your peace. You've had a long day, and then you yell at this child. The people that are most flexible are people that are going to control the system. So if you're very flexible with your children and you have rapport with your children, you are going to control your family, you're going to control the system. You are going to make things happen, and you are not necessarily going to have to shout or smack your children. Okay? Now, another thing I want to say is that whatever outcome you have in your family, it's also your fault. So whatever is happening in your family, you need to take responsibility for it. We need to be at cause, and by being at cause means that we take responsibility. We don't say, it's that person's fault that I shout. I shout because of my job, I shout because of my strengths. Those are excuses. That's being at effect. You need to be at cause, and whatever responses we get from our children, we need to know that it's not failure on our part, but it's feedback for us to know. So let me go into more of the conversation. Now, for those that are Christians and keep on saying that the Bible says that we should not spare the rod, I will just quickly read this out to you. You see, when the Bible was talking about that rod, if you remember in Psalm 23, it says, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. So that rod that we are talking about is not a stick. It's not a stick. It's not a smacking stick for our children. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Now, I got this online, and the lady says, as part of my research, we're talking about Psalm 23 now. In other places, particularly throughout all of Psalms, the rod is referred to as strength, as in the Lord is my rod and my fortress. The Lord is my rod and my fortress. It's also mentioned in Psalm 18 and Psalm 31. So 18:2 and 31:3. He's my rod and my salvation in Psalm 61:2 and 62:6. Throughout the book of Genesis in particular, we get references to the rod as a scepter or staff that is carried by royalty, pharaohs, and enlightened spiritual beings like Moses, or gods like Zeus. The most significant thing about the staff of Moses actually is called the rod in King James version of the Bible. The rod was used to perform miracles of profound spiritual significance. This rod or staff was used to produce water from a rock, transform into a snake to swallow an enemy, and ultimately used to part the Red Sea. Moses was seen carrying this rod, significant and important matters of spiritual accomplishments and rituals. In other words, throughout the scripture, the rod was symbolic, and it was representative of strength, power, and spiritual transformation. So the real meaning of spare the rod and spoil the child is that if you spare the rod of spiritual knowledge, insight, and transformation to your child, they will be spoiled rotten. So this rod that we're talking about is the rod of spiritual knowledge, insight, and transformation, not a physical stick to smack our children. So let us check the book of Psalm 62 and 61 and also Psalm 18, and then we'll realize that this rod is not a stick. I don't want to dwell on it because it's not a Christian broadcast. I know that Muslims here that are going to watch and are watching currently. The rod is not a stick. Its spiritual knowledge is strength and is empowering. It's not something to disempower our children. So we talked about mindset. We've talked about people. No, I'm not talking about that, but I talked about that earlier. People don't want to think. If people want to think, they will think of other strategies other than smacking their children. But because it's so easy, let me just smack them and shout at them, and it's just easy. Let me just smack, shout, and I'm in control. We like to be in control, and when we feel out of control, we feel the need to smack. Always put yourself in the position that if you are the one that is being smacked, how are you going to feel? Okay. Now, if you believe that you can be in control, because you're not in control of anything if you're not in control of your anger. If you're not in control of who you are, you're not really in control of anything. Be making millions, everybody might know you, but you really need to be in control of yourself. Now, if you say you can, you can. And if you say you cannot raise children without smacking them, then you absolutely cannot. What does shouting and smacking actually do for you? What does it do for you? When you finish smacking your children, do you feel good? I've heard so many people tell me that, oh, when I smack my children, after I want to apologize, I just tell them, no, I just feel so bad, and because it doesn't make us feel good when we smack our children. There are other strategies, but we don't want to think. We don't want to think about these strategies, and that is why we have challenges. How do you feel? Guys, please tell me how you feel when you smack your children. Just drop in the comments how you actually feel when you smack your children. Does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel strong? Does it make you powerful? Does it make you feel like you're in control of things? How does that make you feel as a parent? How does it make you feel? It can't possibly make you feel good when you smack your children. It's disempowering for the parent, and it's also disempowering for the child. And we normally do it when we feel out of control. Like I said, you feel out of control. You don't feel as powerful. You're stressed out. Now, we need to know that we are custodians of these children. They don't belong to us. The child might have come out of the womb. You may be in your home, but they don't belong to you. Anytime I read the comments, I look by his trail of thought. So like I said, yeah, I feel terrible after smacking my children. Exactly, I feel bad. One day says, yeah, very correct, man. The rod is not a physical stick. The rod is not a physical stick. So the minute we know that, because we don't want to research, we just take it and just hold it as comfort and just say, yeah, I smack my children. That rod is not a physical stick. So please tell your friends, and if you can just put hashtag and post the link to the group and just tell people that the rod of correction is not a physical stick. Post it in your own houses so that you yourself can absorb it and begin to understand that it's not a physical stick. It is spiritual knowledge. It is strength. It is comfort. It's a rod that the Lord used to do miracles through Moses. So the rod and thy staff, they comfort me. If the rod and thy staff comforts, how can it now be smacking? How can smacking comfort? Come on, guys. Let us begin to do our research. Let us begin to think, hey, okay, meaning, good to see you here again, and thanks for coming to the office today. You were amazing. That is the only strategy we know, and that's why we belong to groups like this, because we begin to learn newer strategies. Before I finish today, I will be sharing some other strategies with us that we can begin to use. If you think you're really going to find it difficult after this, please see me, because normally when we're finding it challenging and we feel we need to hit our children, it's usually hey Tinu, thanks for joining. When we feel the need to hit our children, it's usually because we are out of control and we're also modeling what our parents did. And a lot of people will say, I turned out all right. And I ask them, what made you think you turned out all right? And some of them argue, I couldn't have been better. I turned out okay. How would you have turned out if you're okay, if you, on a scale of 0 to 100, if you are 70 with the smacking, what if you weren't smacked? Perhaps you'll be closer to 100%. Maybe you'll be doing more without that smacking, because that smacking and shouting builds a barrier. Put yourself in the position where your employer is shouting at you, or your spouse is shouting at you, or some of you, your children are shouting at you, because after a while, because you shout at them, one day they will shout back at you. Even those parents of ours, some of us are waiting for them to die so that you can just, let them rest in peace, because you have such bile. Some people cannot admit it, that they have such bile for their parents or against their parents because of the smackings. Because some people are beat ridiculously. Parents didn't understand. And we need to understand that our parents did the best they can or they could with the information that was available to them. They did what they knew, which was smacking. Now we know more. We know more, so why should we now do exactly the same thing as people that knew less? And this is not a dig at parents, this is just the way it is. There's more research has been done, more information is available to us. So why will we continue to repeat the same pattern? You know what they say about a lunatic? A lunatic is one that does the same thing and expects a different result. So they've smacked you and they've shouted at you. So why is the country in a mess? Why are people in such a wreck? So you'd find that a lot of people, they might be saying, oh, I'm okay, oh, I'm all right, I'm holding a nice decent job, I'm this, I'm that. And they go home and all they do, they are addicted to masturbating, addicted to pornography, addicted to alcohol. You know, they are miserable, they are sad, they're depressed, they're suicidal, and all those negative emotions. You didn't turn out all right. And if you think you did, you could have turned out better without that smacking. You could have turned out better, a happier person. Because finance and money is not what makes you happy. A lot of people have money and they're not happy. What makes you happy really is that inner satisfaction, that inner joy, that peace that you get inside of you. Some people say, oh, you know what look my parents gave me? What I just do like this? I just know what they mean. That's a barrier. You're calling it that look. That look is a barrier. Sometimes if my mother give me one here, give me one here, somebody was telling me the other day from the parent right group that the mom used to bang their head systematically, stylishly against a wall. And I thought to myself, bang their head again. What if there's brain damage? She was even saying, oh, there's a way she does it. I don't think anybody can get brain damage for me, but in fact, you will feel it. No, we can't continue like that. As Fina likes to say, we know more and we should do more. Or how do you say it? We should do better because we know better. Fina keeps saying it. We do better because we know better. So we can't repeat the same cycle like mad people. We just can't do that. We don't feel good when we hit. If anybody is here and the spouse hits them, I'm sure you know how horrible that feels. So imagine if that is happening to you all the time. And then we do it to our children and we just build a barrier emotionally. Some of them are not doing well in school. It's not because they're not bright, but because of the beating that you give them all the time. You smack and shout at them and you dehumanize them and you take them to ground zero, and when they're in class they're sulking and feeling sorry for themselves. Those are issues that children deal with, and then they go to school and then you say their grades are not high, and all they need from you is that affirmation, that love, that cuddle, that word, you can do it, something positive coming from mom and dad. And then there you are, putting them down all the time, shouting you want your peace and this and that. We are the ones destroying our children. We'll say we love them, but action speaks louder than words. If you love your children, you can say, I love you, honey, kiss, kiss, I love you, money, I love you, honey, and it's pa, bo. The minute they say anything, pa, bo. They can't even relate to you. They can't tell you their problems. Some of them are being abused. They can't tell you. They can't tell you anything because they're afraid of you. You are a custodian, they're not your children. You don't own them. You don't own them. They just came through you, and that's about it. And that's why a lot of children kick back. But after a while, they're like, I can't take this anymore. Just hitting you, any small thing, just shout. Small thing, just screaming. I can't take this. I can't deal with this anymore. It gets too much. They explode. And then some of them will start taking drugs. Some of them will start going into boys. Some of them are having sex. Some of them are watching porn. Some of them are doing all sorts of negative things because they're kicking back against what you are doing in the home. It's not always peer pressure. It's not always school. It is you, the parent, that pushes those children to those limits. You are the one that is destroying your child. If actions speak louder than words, I need you to know tonight that what you do to your children carries more weight than what you say. So let's check that out before we wreck ourselves. If everybody can go into their homes and put a no shouting zone in their home, have a tone, a maximum tone in the house, have no shouting, and as your children grow up and can read, they will be able to say, oh, mommy, I thought you said no shouting in this house. Be accountable to your children. No shouting. Let them be able to say no shouting. When I wanted to do this live video, I said to my daughter, I asked my husband, I said, because sometimes you just think, oh, I don't do it. I asked my husband, I said, do I shout? He said, what do I mean? I said, do I shout, with that day and stuff like that? Do I shout around the house? And he was like, no, not really. I mean, you don't shout. And I asked my daughter, I'm like, Daddy, does mommy shout? Does mommy shout at you? She just said no, and she just casually just went away. It was not even something that she had to think about, because I don't. And we need to realize that some of us are having too many children, and that's why we're out of control. We actually don't even have to have children at all. And that's why I respect a lot of foreigners in the Western world. They'll put their career first and they'll tell you they want no children, and you will say they're selfish. They're not selfish, because they know what they want to focus on. We Africans, we continue having children we don't have time for. We're frustrated, we have poor jobs, we're not earning a lot of money, and then we take it out on the children. But because we want people to say we have children, we just keep giving birth to children. I say to you today, you don't have to have children. You don't have to give birth to multiple children. You don't have to. Be like Ronke Posh, have one. It's not by force. You're out of control. You can't manage those children. 2, 3, 4 children. You can't manage it. And that's why you feel as if the only way to do it is control. That's why you believe in your mind that you must smack the children. You believe that that's the way to go. And that's not the way to go. I will share strategies. And we need to know that how we do one thing is how we do everything. You that are shouting at your child, you are the same person that will go and be shouting in the office. I mean, I went to the bank the other day. Let me make you laugh. I went to the ATM, one of these banks. I can't remember which one it was. And the lady was not allowed to park in the parking lot of the bank because it was full. She started yelling. She was just shouting. We just parked outside. And then we walked in, I went to the ATM, and she came into the ATM machine, and she continued shouting, shouting. And I was just looking at this woman like, and then we finished using the ATM, and she said, hey, I want to see the manager. I want you to just shouting. And I just thought to myself, I was still at the ATM, I could hear her. This is just based on parking. So as I left, she was leaving, and as she got into her car, she was shouting at herself, and still shouting. This must be madness. She just continued shouting. This is this kind of lady that will go home and she's so pent up with anger. She's going to go home and start shouting at her children, beating them up because she's frustrated. We're creating a lot of frustration around, and a lot of it emanates from our childhood. We're angry. A lot of Nigerians are angry. How many Nigerians do you see smiling? Even when you see Nigerians smiling, you're like, it's not okay. You're suspicious. The average Nigerian person does not smile. They don't smile, they're angry. A lot of people are angry. And we can't be angry and continue to raise angry children. We just can't. We just need to try and be happy. We need to find happiness. Happiness is a state. It's something that you can find from within. So if you're struggling from things that have happened in your past, if you've been sexually abused, emotionally abused, verbally abused, if you've been neglected, if you've been dehumanized in any way, and you're living in resentment against your brother, your siblings, your parents, something that they have done, and you need to speak to a counselor. I am a counselor, a family life therapist, and I belong to a team and a body of people that if you need help, we can help you. If you're stuck on all this habits, all these negative, disempowering habits like porn, like masturbating and stuff like that, we can scramble it, we can break it. Now we're going to talk about what makes us angry, what our triggers are, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. What are the patterns that you have in your life? What are those patterns that you have in your life? You tell me. What are those things you're doing? You know, this is with your children. Can I ask you to take a deep breath like this and breathe out through your mouth? In and breathe out through your mouth. Are we breathing? Are we breathing, guys? Let me see a yes or a thumbs up or a heart or something. Just keep taking those breaths in and out. Are we doing it? Let me know. Let me know. This is therapeutic, because I want to ask you a few questions. Deep breaths, guys. Deep breaths. If you're taking your deep breath, give me a thumbs up, give me a yes, I'm breathing, just let me know. I'm going to start when I know I've seen enough hearts or likes or comments. Breathe in, really deep, really deep, and out, really in. Even I feel good, I really feel good. I feel good. I hope you're feeling good. Just give me a yes. Really deep, really deep. And I know this is the most unusual broadcast, but I don't do what is usual anyway, and that is why people that are in this group, the people I work with, we get transformation, real transformation. So those breathing exercises, yes, you've done those breathing exercises. Now I need you to be in a calm state. Calm state. If you need to close your eyes over the next 5 minutes, feel free to do so. But I need you to think of a time when your child has really made you mad. Think of a time your child has made you mad. When you have that moment, hold on to it and picture it and just hang on to it. Hold on to it. Let me see your thumbs up or your yeses. That time that your child has made you mad. Yeah? Yes, baby is breathing. Uzamaka is breathing. Am is breathing. Blacka is breathing. Keep on breathing, guys. Helen is breathing. Have you thought about that time? Yes, it's amazing. You feel relaxed. This breathing exercise is something we need to do when our children annoy us. Just take deep breaths. But we're not using it for that right now. I need you to remember a time when your child has made you mad. Now, when you have that moment, let me see your yes and thumbs up. That yes and thumbs up of when your child made you mad. Or anyone, if you don't have a child yet, think of somebody that made you mad. If it's your dad, your mom, your friend, your colleague, your spouse, your anybody, or even if it's on Facebook. Do you have that moment? Do you have that moment when someone made you mad? Let me see 1 or 2 yeses. Can you remember the time one of your children were just making noise, or your children were fighting or doing something, or you had a report from school or something like that? Think of that time when somebody made you mad. Your child made you mad. When you think about that moment, I need you to find out if it was something that you heard your child say. Was it that your child made you say something? Was it that your child said something and it just made your head spin? Or your child did something and you felt somehow, after all I've been doing for this child. Think about it. So was it, or is it something that you smelled? You know, this is for the smell. It normally happens when to abuse victims of sexual abuse. Someone coming close to them. It could be perfume. It could be perfume. It could be semen. It could be something like that. The person's sweat. Was it something you felt? Was it something you heard? Was it something you tasted? Was it something that your child did and you saw? Was it something you saw? I need you to understand. So if it was something you felt, please write felt. If it was something your child did, so if your child did something that made you feel inside you, make you feel angry, please write felt. If it was something that you saw your child doing and it made you angry, please write see. If it was something you smelt, write smell. If it was something you heard, please write heard. So if it was something that you tasted, please write taste. The network must be bad because I've lost half of us, but it's building back up. So if it's something you saw, please write see. If it's something you heard your child do, write here, taste, smell, or anything that makes you angry, something that really makes you angry. Your children might do something and it reminds you of something, because sometimes we project. Something might happen to us in the past and our children are repeating it and it reminds us of the past. So is this something that we are feeling? Is this something that we're smelling, tasting? So let me say felt. Let me say felt. So I need more responses. Like I said, it's something I felt. So if your child does something or someone does something to you and you feel. Hey, Muiwa says I'm killing it. Thank you, darling. Thank you so much. Rukaya says it's something she saw. So probably something you saw in the past or something you saw your child doing. Mercy Grace says is saw and felt. Is something she saw and something she felt. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody auditory? Is there anybody auditory? Basirat? No, it's when they did it, Basirat. When your child or somebody that hurt you did something that made you angry or shout, what did they do? Keep that aside. I want to know how it made you feel. So they've done it. How did it make you feel? How did it make you feel? One day, and Tosi, it's not due. Somebody did something. How did you feel? So the responses I'm looking for are, when you saw it, then you got angry and shouted or smacked. When you saw it, you felt this emotion rise up in you. Or the child did something or said something, maybe used a bad word. So you heard something. So essentially, I'm trying to determine if your auditory, visual, kinesthetic, the kind of way that you respond to all those triggers. How are you responding to the triggers? Bolwatibi, when someone upset you and you were disappointed, yes, you've written upset and disappointed. Someone annoyed you and you were disappointed. What did they do? Was it something they did and you saw it and you got upset and disappointed? That is something that you felt, something that you saw, something that you smelt, something that you tasted or heard. So yeah, Batira has said heard. So you heard your child say something. So figure out which one it is. Something you felt, saw, smelled, tasted, heard. When you start to figure out what it is, someone does something you feel. So you're somebody that is someone that feels. So maybe something kinesthetic. Yours is based on your feelings. Now, what I want to teach you tonight is how you're going to interrupt those feelings. How are you going to interrupt it? So if you know that it's what people say that annoys you and makes you shout and scream, the minute you hear it, you get mad and you want to smack your child. Or the minute you see it, you want to smack your child. The minute you feel it, you want to smack your child. You need to now know. I need you to know that those answers, those responses belong to you. Keep it. You can even write feel or feeler or put it anyhow you want. Put it somewhere. Write it somewhere in your house and stick it up. Now you know that it's when you see things that you get angry, or when you hear things that are negative that you get angry, or when you smell certain smells that you get upset. And it's deeper than this, because some people are going to actually need one-to-one sessions, therapy sessions, to break some of these things. It's deeper than this. So once you know that you are someone that responds negatively when you hear something or see something or whatever the issue may be, when you know that that's how your own responses are, then you need to look for a way to break it. So someone is now saying something. So the minute you hear it, what do you want to do? You want to say something else to yourself that is positive. So if your child uses a rude word, oh, maybe a child says, oh shit, and then you just get so angry and smack, you need to interrupt it. You need to interrupt that word with something else, because you are someone that responds to what you hear. Do you understand? You're someone that responds to what you hear. You need to interrupt it. If you're someone that feels, so when you get that feeling, what can you do? Can you take breathing exercise? Can you go for a walk? What can you do to change your state? You need to change your state. Understand your trigger and learn how to prevent it. It's deeper than this. It's deeper than this. You want to learn how to prevent it, you'd have to pay me to teach you. That's something else. So because we have so many things to say, let me just rush along. Your children model you. If you're smacking them and they're fighting in school, you learned it from you. They learn that smacking and fighting from you. You are probably just modeling your parents. You're doing what your parents did. Your parents were out of resources. They didn't know what to do. All they know is bam, 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 smacking. So you too, despite you're going to London and America and going all around and doing degree and MBA and masters and all whatnot, you still come and be smacking your children. So what are you doing with the knowledge you have? Remember, my people perish for lack of knowledge. I add that my people perish for not using the information that they have. So you have information at your disposal already. If you choose not to use it, then it's your fault. So there's so many people's relationships that are broken down already because of this smacking. So many people that have have been intimidated in one capacity or the other. Their parents have intimidated them. They can't speak up. You know, a lot of us, when we travel abroad, we can't even speak. We can't talk properly. When speaking to a white person, except if you've lived there for a certain amount of time, you find it hard to speak. You're not confident enough to talk in front of people. You've been intimidated in your home. It's that parent that keeps saying they love you. And this is the same way that you're intimidating your children. They can't talk, they can't speak, they can't communicate, they can't public speak, they can't do so many things. And it's not the school, it is you. Take responsibility. I'm a school owner. I own the best school in Ikoyi, and I tell my parents the same thing. It is you that raise the child. What is it that you're doing to the child at home? Why are you constantly child? Don't watch TV. You're constantly giving instructions like a mad person. The child is like living with a maniac. You know, and it's like, you should even do it one day and be looking at yourself in the mirror. Constantly making, shouting. Yes, we will get angry. There's no way we won't get angry. We're human. We're designed that way. What we now will lose it. But as much as you can, please don't lose it. And just start smacking your children. Sometimes they develop a slap on the bum. But the thing is, we need to know that there's a difference between smacking and beating. What we do to our children is beating them. What we do is beat. So we're just sugarcoating it and call it smacking. It's not any you beat. You're a beater. And when you're shouting and doing all, you're being mad in front of your children, you know. I've had parents that want to take what's it called? Blender, because that was the closest thing to them to smack their children. I've already said that our parents did the best they can with the information that they have. If you cannot control your anger, you're not in control of anything. You're not in control of much. We need new tools, new strategies. When you smack, you build barriers. It's abuse, triggers, and your emotions. You need to know that you're struggling for control when you're smacking your children. How you see your child is important. If you see your child as a naughty child, a child that doesn't listen, you're going to react, and you're supposed to respond, not react. Okay? And if your child is annoying, so what do you see your child as? Drop your comments there. How do you see your children? If you have 100 children, tell me how you feel about your children. Do you think they are a handful? They are boisterous? They are, you know, all those things, all those words that we use. Be honest. You're in a safe environment. No one's going to judge you here. Some people have unresolved battles from their childhood, unresolved battles with their siblings or parents. Those are some of the things that they're still living with, and they continue to smack. Yes, awesome. So one deliverance has happened tonight. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. So let me come and bring the offering baskets so that you can pay your tithe and offering to Ronke Posh. Yes, no more smacking, please. No more smacking. It starts with you. Your transformation can be immediate and permanent, or it can be a journey for you. It's a decision. It starts in your mind. I talk about people that think they turned out all right because they have a job. What makes them think they turned out all right? What are the alternatives to shouting? I'm going to get to that. What are the barriers? Shouting. What are they? If she says, this was another one I was noticing that when I was brainstorming, you know, a lot of us want our children to be in the classroom and we don't want anybody to touch them. We don't want anybody to smack our children, but we are in the house smacking them. Is that not hypocritical? Because at the end of the day, if you really think about these children, that they're royalty. So if you have Obama's children and all the cameras are on you, will you smack them? You won't smack. You know, if you have princes and queens and the children of the prince of Arabia or king of whatever in your house, will you smack? You won't smack. You will restrain yourself. In fact, you will be so perfect. You won't even be quoting all those scriptures. If you begin to see your children as royalty, and this goes down to values. If you don't have values from your family and you want to learn how to build the family value systems for your family, and if you even want to formalize it, I'm able to help you do that. You just need a session with me in my office and I'll be able to help you build family values. You can come with your spouse if you want, and if you're single and you still want that, you can still come to my office. So you don't want anybody to smack your children, but you are busy smacking your children at home after work. That doesn't make any sense. If a teacher can be with 20-something children and is not allowed to smack, and they don't smack and they are under control, but most of the time you have 3, 4, 5 or even 1 and you are still smacking. It's a decision you make. Just imagine that they're not your children and you don't have any choice, because maybe they're just royalty, you know. Maybe they're just you guys should give me names of people that are important. Everyone is important to me anyway. So the way I look at it is, if you have children and you had cameras all on you, you know, SSS, everybody on you, and you had these children there, would you smack? No. So think about it. Put signs of all eyes are on me, you know. What of those who can't? What does, if you're Luma, what do you mean? What of those who can't? Who can't do what? Olapan, I'm constantly working on this now. Thank you. Please do. Please do. Mercy Grace, I will attend mass as long as I can attend via online. I have done a few via WhatsApp and online class, and I'm attending one paid for by Berkola Susan in 6 weeks' time. Okay. I have repented, no more smacking. Good, good, good. Okay, yeah, I've picked that one up. I still threatening to smack in the last few days. I'm working on not threatening either. Trust me, you're gonna have to stop that threatening, because it's a barrier. It's such a, it can affect the children in so many ways, and it's usually emotional and psychological. So you need to be careful. I mean, punish my children when they do any wrong. Now, I spoke about this a few days ago. There's a difference between discipline and punishment. Punishment is when you inflict pain, when you punish them, corporal punishment. That's punishment. Discipline is correction. So we really shouldn't be punishing our children. They punish people in the army. They don't punish children. Try not to punish your children by smacking them and hitting them. All this smacking I'm saying is beating. So we talk about sparing the rod, we talk about being intentional, we talk about triggers, identify the state that you're in. So when is it that you always come and smack your children? There must be a pattern, how you do one thing, how you do everything. When is it in time? Is it after work? Is it in the morning when you're doing the school one? The minute you source that it's in the morning, you're trying to rush to work, your child is wasting time, then you wake up half an hour earlier or an hour earlier, and you already solved that problem, no more shouting. It just means that you sleep less. So try and find out what the triggers are and try and interrupt those triggers. Break it up, stop all those things that are causing you to smack your children. Do your breathing exercises. Some of us are not fit, some of us are just unhealthy, some of us are too thin, some of us are too fast, and we can't move around, and you know, our children are annoying us, we can't even get up. You send them get up and down, can't do anything. And then when we smack, some people's own is as simple as that, just laziness. Take time out and share your feelings with some other people. Share your feelings with people. It's a natural emotion to be angry, but you just know how to learn to interrupt it. Admit it's an issue like alcoholics do. If you don't admit you have an issue, then if you don't admit that you have an issue, you can't even begin to. So if you don't believe that smoking is okay, then I'm just talking about wasting my time. So it's an emotion, it's something that you can deal with. It's a problem if it gets out of hand. Some people have to do anger management, some people have to do therapy, some people have so many things to help them scramble all these things. So you need to plan your day, plan your life, wake up earlier. And sometimes when we even discipline our children, we don't follow up. You say, if you go there again, mommy is going to send you to your room. Mommy is going to send you to your room, and then you don't send them to your room. So every time you do that, they know you don't send them to their room. So it's ineffective. So when you say you're going to do something, follow through. When you don't follow through, they will do it and you get angry. So always follow through with your threats. What about all right behaviors? Now, if your children do well, you praise them. Yay, high five, well done. Mommy's going to take you to London. You know, you praise them. And they do bad. It's like, you know. And when they just do all right things, normal things, what do? Nothing. We also need to praise normal behavior, so that we are praising more than, and overpraising is also, you know, too much of anything is bad. Overpraising also has its own detriments. So let there be a balance. But when they do some all right things, maybe they just take the plates to the kitchen. You say, well done, that's really good. I'm impressed that you took the plates to the kitchen. So there will be some things that they will do. By all means, please praise your children. So some parents are critical, they criticize their children. You can't read, your mates are this. They criticize their children, and they think they're doing it out of love. It's not working. It's just not it. So don't be afraid to seek professional help. I'm here to help you as a therapist. I'm here to help you as a family life practitioner. I'm here to help you as a performance coach, a results coach as well. Head of school, Posh Babies and Kids, of the best preschool experience, working with many parents that have had issues with children. So you're speaking to the right person. If you need any help, if you're not in the country, I can speak to you via Skype. If you're in the country, you can come to my office, and if you're still in the country and want to speak to me via Skype, feel free to do so. So instead of shouting, what can you do? Some people have a bell. They use it as an anchor. So the minute the children hear that bell, or is a bell that they install in their house, once the children hear that, they know that this means trouble. You explain to them what this means. If it's a gong or it's 5 claps, they know what that means. Instantly, they'll just come and conform. That's because you will come up with a threat. And you have to know your child's personality type. If you don't know your child's personality type and you want to know your child's personality type, send me a DM. I will give you a form to know your own personality and your child's personality type, and you can know how to work together. Because if you don't know your child's personality type, you wouldn't even know the right discipline. So if a child is someone that is very social and likes to hang out, and you and that child just say their own punishment is let me see, go and wash some dishes. That guy quickly go and wash dishes and come back. But if you tell that child to go away to a naughty corner or go and stay in their room, because that child is social and that child is someone that likes to bond and be with people, that child is going to be so upset because that child wants to be with people. So you need to know the kind of punishment to give your child. It's not that you say naughty corner. There's some children that you give naughty corner, they will even be happy because those children, they're not even social. They don't want to be with people. They want that naughty corner and they'll create their own fun in that naughty corner. Haven't you seen children like that? You get a naughty corner and they're dancing there, playing or drawing or doing some things. So if you don't know your personality type, if you don't know your child's love language, if you don't know the things that will work and the strategies you will use for your child, you can also contact me and I will be able to help you figure out those ones. None of these are going to be free. None at all. Okay? Just to let you know. Affirmation is very important. Seek professional help if you need to. You can use the bell, you can use a gong, you can use music. There can be a particular music that you play, and the minute you play that music, your children will just know instantly that that's that musical. It means we better calm down. It means this or it means that. Have things that they will use as anchors when they hear it. You know, like a school bell. When children hear the school bell, they start running to the classroom because they already know it's an anchor for them. It holds them. They know the meaning instantly. There's some people that you hear some songs, you hear some love songs, you just start remembering that your ex-boyfriend, oh my god, or that your ex-girlfriend, just start remembering that you go, because just that song, you know, that song was played at that time when you went for that romantic date. That was the song that was played. This works for children as well. When they hear a certain song, and you tell them, anytime you hear this song, it means it's bedtime. Anytime you hear this bell, mommy rings it once, it means that. Mommy rings it twice, it means that. Daddy rings it once, it means that. So look for other things that you can use other than shouting. Some people even act like a gorilla. And the children, I don't really believe in gorilla one, but they give a roar and the children just scatter. You know, they know they know what it means. So manage your own emotions first. If you can't manage your own emotions, you can't help your children. So if you know you're in a mess, there are things that are annoying you, your business is not working, you have so many issues going on in your life and you're struggling, please deal with those ones first, you know, before you can help your children. You can't give what you don't have. So please try and help yourself first. There should be a tone in your family. See life from your child's lenses. You know, if your child is having fun and you can say, come and do your homework, put yourself in the same position. Maybe you are on the dance floor and this live band is playing, and you're dancing, really rocking to the music. And somebody, hey, come, please come and help me with this essay. You go, you know, how would you feel? So you wonder, I'm dancing on the dance floor and tell this man to do essay. Are you okay? This is exactly how our children feel. They're playing, having fun, you know, Nintendo, PlayStation, running around outside, running around the house, playing catch, dancing and singing. You know, say, go and do your homework. No, you need to always know the state that your child is in. Figure out the state that your child is in, and then you respond appropriately. When you know that state that your child is in, then you know what to do. So you might calm down easily. Okay. There are also classes for children. If you think that your child is not thinking properly, if you think your child is struggling with one thing or the other, and your child is a one-to-one with me, they can come to the school. I don't like to do Skype with children. It's possible, but I would rather not. I would rather deal with the children face to face. If you think your child is struggling, I know a number of people have contacted me about sibling rivalry and things like that. I prefer to deal with those ones in person. If you want to, I'm going to be doing a program over the holidays as well for pre-teens and teens as well. If you want your children to be a part of that, also send me a message. The alternatives, you can give them chores to do, you can give them wise counsel, isolation. You can ask your dad to count. You can chunk up. You can, if a child does something, you can, the way you speak, it's like, okay, you're being silly, rolling around on the floor. It's like, is that the best thing to do? This rolling on the floor, does it make you feel good? Should people really be behaving like that, rolling around in mud? What are the consequences of it on your clothes? Depending on the age of your child, you can just speak to the child in such a way that child will now realize that what they are doing is not the right thing to do. But because of pressure of time, and we're always in a hurry, we don't really have time for these children. We don't have time to be engaging them in those conversations. And it's really, really important that we're able to see and know the state our children are in and the kind of strategies we should use. All bad behavior actually has a positive intention. Just know that no matter what it is that your child does, no matter how bad it is, even your spouse, no matter how bad it is, what they do, there's always a positive intention. Even murderers, even rapists, you'll be surprised that murderers and rapists, when you pick a psychologist, they will tell you that they usually always also have a positive intention. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't, they should be free from consequences, but if you really think about it, as sick as it is, it normally has a positive behavior. So the same goes for our children. Whatever it is, when they start telling lies or whatever, they have a positive intention. Try and laugh, try and be happy, have your rules and stick to your rules. You have to bust the beliefs and the myths that you believe. If you believe in some of these traditional things that it's not possible to raise children and this is how my parents did it, what your parents did, they're not raising 21st century children that are exposed and are doing things differently from the way that we are doing things. You're not raising the same caliber of children. So you must do it differently. You must do stuff really, really differently. You can't repeat the same mistake. I've talked about that. So if you didn't catch that part, please watch the replay. Now, some reasons why it's good, why you shouldn't shout, is a feel-good factor. As many of you have said already today, you don't feel good when you shout. You don't feel good. You don't feel this sense of achievement. So don't shout. When you don't shout, you are modeling positive behavior to your children. You're in control of your reaction you're in control of your actions to what it is that they're doing. Yelling doesn't work. You may think it works. It may work temporarily in the time being. But what are the other consequences? What are the indirect consequences? The ones that you cannot see, the one that your child does not express to you. You miss out on experiences. Your child might want to tell you something. Your child might be doing something. There may be a message behind the action or something that they will subsequently tell you days later. But because of your shouting and your smacking, your child can't reach out to you. You miss out on experiences and you don't want that. Okay? You build barriers. I've talked about that. You're not like the abusive husband that smacks the wife and beats up the child and comes and beats up the wife and comes and says, "Oh honey, I'm so sorry I smacked you," and make love to the wife, and then the following day the husband will come and smack the wife again, and the next time they will kiss and say, "Oh, it's just the stress, it's the alcohol, it's just this pressure," and they'll make love again, and the following day, and the cycle continues until he kills her. Yeah. So that's exactly what you're doing with your children. You smack them and say sorry all the time. Smack them and say sorry all the time. Even if you smack them, I'm not an advocate of smacking. Some children, they say, when did your mommy smack you? "Oh, mommy smack me now. She just smack me." Smacking all the time. You don't have a friend that. This one is really funny. I have a friend that when she wants to smack when her child does something wrong, he goes like this. He just raises his hand. Oh, it's my hand. He just raises his hand. Why? Because he knows she will smack. So he just smack me so that I just get it over and done with. He's used to it. It means nothing. The same thing with shouting and smacking. After a while, it's ineffective. You're just wasting your time. So live a healthy lifestyle, have quiet time, have meditation time. I keep telling people also that the reason why we don't have a lot of thinkers, creators, innovators in Nigeria is because we don't have time to settle down and meditate and think. If you want to create something, you're going to have to think. A big business. Look at the way Facebook is innovating and bringing new things to make Facebook so much fun and to make it so engaging. Look at this Facebook Live that we're enjoying. What is it that you're doing in your house that is fun? What are the new things that you're introducing into your family? Or is it just business as usual? Hey Brenda, thanks for joining. Okay, so whatever strategy you have, make sure you test it. Test, operate, test, and execute or exit. But that's complex. Test your strategies. You can discuss with me the things that you want to do, and then fail forward. When things happen, when children do something bad, let them learn from the experiences. Don't just take it so personally, because we all fail. The important thing is that we must fail forward. We really must fail forward.